Mangwana ni Mwalelepo Vukenjani Wanave Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning, the news and current affairs show bringing you everything you need to know happening on the African continent and beyond. You are joined by Ashwin Berry and Diana Master. How are you, Diana?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I am fantastic.
It is a Thursday.
It is a Thursday.
Quarter to the weekend.
Quarter to the weekend. I'm ready.
You're ready?
I'm not fading away anytime soon.
Yes, your fade looks amazing.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Make sure you compliment a black man's haircut today.
No, it looks great. It looks
Appreciate
great. Now let's get into what you can expect in today's broadcast. We give you an update on Nigeria's tribunal, and African leaders call for new global taxes to fund climate change action, and WHO sees concerning COVID trends before winter as hospitalizations rise. We'll also be speaking to Talent Gore as she updates us on all the news making headlines in Zimbabwe. Stick around. We'll be right back with our top stories after this.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouth-watering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
We start off our top stories in Nigeria, where an election tribunal delivered its judgment on challenges to the outcome of February's presidential poll. The victory of Bola Tinubu of the All Progressives Congress was disputed by his two main opponents, Peter Obi and Atiku Abubakar, who wanted the court to nullify the election because of alleged irregularities. Now, the tribunal has the power to annul the ballot and call for a rerun, but that decision could be appealed in a higher court. His decision could have far-reaching implications for future elections in Africa's most populous democracy. However, the tribunal did decide to reject the challenge.
Now getting into our next story, African leaders on Wednesday proposed new global taxes and reforms to international financial institutions to help fund climate change action in a declaration that will form the basis of their negotiating position at November's COP28 summit. The Nairobi Declaration capped the three-day Africa Climate Summit in Kenya, which was dominated by discussions of how to mobilize financing to adapt to increasingly extreme weather, conserve natural resources, and develop renewable energy. Now, despite suffering from some of the worst impacts of climate change, Africa only receives about 12% of the nearly $300 billion in annual financing it needs to cope, according to researchers.
Now, the World Health Organization has warned of concerning COVID-19 trends in advance of the winter in the Northern Hemisphere, calling for increased vaccinations and surveillance. Now, while figures are limited because many countries have stopped reporting coronavirus data, the United Nations Health Agency estimated that hundreds of thousands of people globally were currently hospitalized with the virus. We continue to see concerning trends for COVID-19 ahead of the winter season in the Northern Hemisphere. WHO Chief Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus told an online news conference on Wednesday. Deaths are increasing in some parts of the Middle East and Asia. Intensive care unit admissions are also increasing.
Now, bringing us to Tunisia. Tunisia will soon reopen its Bardo National Museum, the Culture Ministry said on Tuesday, 2 years after it was closed when President Kais Saied shuttered the parliament, which shares the same building. The ministry did not give a date to reopen the Bardo, located in a historic palace and home to one of the world's most magnificent collections of ancient Roman mosaics, but said that some restoration work had been carried out. Saied sent tanks to surround the parliament on July 25th, 2021. As he seized most powers and moves his critics called a coup, closing both buildings while he rewrote the constitution and held elections to a new, far less influential legislature. The new parliament started work this year, but there had been no firm information about reopening the National Museum, one of the capital's main attractions in a country economically dependent on tourism. After Tunisia's 2011 revolution, the parliament had emerged under the new democratic system as the most powerful elected body, and its arcade ring chamber became home to some of the most open political debate of any Arab country. However, many Tunisians came to blame parliament and the main political parties for years of economic stagnation and government paralysis as a succession of coalition governments failed to bring prosperity.
And two Zimbabwean rights lawyers appeared in court on Tuesday on charges of preventing police from questioning their clients, two opposition members who had been allegedly abducted and tortured, sources said. Police in Zimbabwe arrested lawyers Douglas Coulthart and Tapiwa Mchineripi in a Harare hospital when they objected to their clients being quizzed by police, arguing that they were medically unfit. Coulthart and Mchineripi, who spent the night in jail, faced charges of obstructing justice. The pair were attending to a recently elected councillor and an activist for the country's largest opposition group, the Citizens Coalition for Change. Alec Muchadehama, Coulthart and Mchineripi's lawyer, said in court that the attorney's arrest was unlawful. That brings us to the end of our top stories on Africa. Good morning. We stick to Zimbabwe as Talent Gore gives us more news from the House of Stone after the break.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master. Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
Now we return with news from Zimbabwe with Talent Gore, and of course we start off with President Emmerson Mnangagwa being sworn in as president. Talent, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing all right, Mamukase Africa.
So yes, please do give us an update on Mnangagwa being sworn in. What are some of the promises he has made to the people of Zimbabwe?
Well, President Emmerson Mnangagwa has promised to lift millions out of poverty as he was sworn in for a second term after being declared the winner of last month's elections. Thousands of his supporters, mostly buzzed in from across the country, sang and danced as the 80-year-old walked into the National Sports Stadium alongside his wife, Auxilia Mnangagwa. He took the oath of office in front of Chief Justice Luke Malaba, who in 2018 declared Mnangagwa as winner following a constitutional court challenge. And President Emmerson, I stand as a president of all. I offer you individually and collectively and unity, Mnangagwa said. Several African leaders, including South African President Cyril Ramaphosa, Mozambique leader Filipe Nyusi, and Congolese President Felix Tshisekedi attended the swearing-in ceremony, while Zimbabwean President Hakainde Hichilema chose to stay away. Also, in some of the people who were there at the inauguration include the vice presidents of various African countries and also foreign ministers and head of delegations.
All right, now Zimbabwe's incoming lawmakers will be sworn in today after the elections which were held about 2 weeks ago. I understand Bulawayo is completely yellow.
Yes, yesterday in Bulawayo, some of the MPs were sworn in yesterday, and in Harare, the members of parliament are going to be sworn in today. And the ruling party, ZANU-PF, has 136 members in the National Assembly, whilst the rival Citizens Coalition for Change has 103. In an extraordinary government gazette published yesterday, Clerk of Parliament Kennedy Chokuda said the taking of oath by the new members of Parliament would be in terms of the provision of Section 128.1 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe, which prescribes the taking of an oath before becoming a member of Parliament. The taking of the oath MPs will also pave the way for President Emmerson Mnangagwa to appoint a new cabinet. And the law states that all cabinet members except 5 should be MPs. So after the members of parliament are sworn in, President Emmerson Mnangagwa has to then select his new his new cabinet ministers. And on those cabinet ministers, the president is required to choose at least 5 MPs, at least 5 cabinet ministers who are not members of parliament. So after the sworn in, the president would then select his new cabinet, and we're going to be seeing new faces in the government, and some old faces will also be included in the cabinet. So now we're just waiting for the swearing in, and then the president will have his way.
All right, now Talent, we close off your top stories on a rather disturbing and gruesome note. A 20-year-old serial killer has been arrested for 8 gruesome murders in Harare and Bulawayo, where he killed unsuspecting victims, boiled their body parts and ate the flesh. Talent, if you could please give this to us but not include the really graphic details, please.
I know, that's all right. Apparently, National Police spokesperson confirmed that Tandolwenko Sindlovu, who is 20, was linked to 5 murder cases committed in Harare between August 28 and September 4 this year, where he was targeting the homelessness in the capital city. He allegedly committed 3 other murder cases in Bulawayo in 2020. The suspect, who is believed to be living on the streets, would target street kids who will be fast asleep and crush them and open the victim's stomach to remove genitals and other body parts using broken bottles. The suspect then boiled the human parts on any open fire and consumed them while in the Harare Central Business District. Police Commissioner Nyati said Ndlovu was caught on September 4 along Rotten Row in Harare after he tried to attack another street kid. So he was apparently targeting those who would be sleeping. He did the same thing in Bulawayo, where he killed 3 people and he was boiling their body and eating them. So right now, he's in police custody, and yesterday he appeared in court, and the police said that they were still investigating the matter, so he's still in police custody, and he apparently he actually admitted to the crimes. So now the police are doing more investigations to see if there are any more murders which are linked to him.
Truly disturbing story, but thank you very much for bringing us the news stories as they are from Zimbabwe Talent.
You're welcome, and thank you very much for having me.
It's always good having you in Africa. Good morning. Let's head to the weather predictions.
Good evening and welcome to Sunset News.
Dutch States List mentioned in a speech rate and taxes and how much.
After the break, we take a look at the sports.
We bring you
economic indicators, tomorrow's weather and sports. I am Aina Raiza Kweyong.
Now, oil prices fell below $90 a barrel on Wednesday after rising over 1% the previous session on a stronger dollar and after strong economic data renewed concerns over high interest rates. Brent crude futures fell by 50 cents to $89.56 a barrel at 11:07 a.m. EDT. Now, the dollar was at 104.98, above the 6-month high of 104.90 just overnight. A stronger dollar can weigh on oil demand by making the fuel more expensive for holders of other currencies, fueling rate high concerns and denting investor sentiment. Data on Wednesday showed the ISM Non-Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index came in at 54.5 compared with expectations of 52.5.
Ghanaian Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta says he's confident his country will receive the second tranche worth $600 million of an International Monetary Fund bailout package come the end of the year. In May, Ghana signed a new bailout program worth $3 billion over 3 years to help ease the country's economic problems. It received an initial installment of $600 million, but the government had to introduce certain measures to qualify for further rounds of funding. There will be a review in November, and Mr. Ofori-Atta said the country had shown progress in bolstering the fiscal and balance of payment needs. The government has expanded the tax net by introducing new measures such as a 10% levy on betting and lottery winnings to increase revenue in line with the IMF conditions. The IMF has said the Ghanaian economy is showing signs of recovery, citing an increase in foreign reserves, a less volatile exchange rate, and softening inflation.
Stay with us as we head into the economic indicators and then return for the sport.
Hello and welcome to today's Sports Rep Show.
I am your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraifa. In replay, Namibia, who had won the toss for the first time on this tour.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis news, both on the WTA for women's and
All right, let's dive straight into the sports news. South Africa is looking to balance giving returning players a chance to find their form with trying to gain some team momentum as they begin a 5-match, one-day international series at home against Australia today. Just 1 month away from the start of the World Cup, South Africa captain Themba Bavuma is seeking to use the series to clean out a few cobwebs as well as building the team's confidence for the tournament in India. It's a bit of a balance because there are guys who haven't been playing for a while and opportunity will be given to them, more for batters to get them into the right mental and physical space, Bavuma told a Wednesday press conference. And for the bowlers, it will be about getting time in their legs out there in the middle. I think what is more important is the synergy and the relationship between the bowlers out in the field to get that going again. But I think it's a balance, giving guys opportunity, but also trying to get momentum going and looking at things going forward. Now, South Africa have included Keshav Maharaj and Sima Sisanda Magala in the World Cup squad, which was announced on Tuesday after the pair overcame fitness concerns. The 5-match ODI series against Australia takes in 2 matches in Bloemfontein and 1 each in Potchefstroom, Pretoria and the Wanderers in Johannesburg.
Moving over, Manchester United said they are taking seriously assault allegations against striker Antony that amid a police investigation led him to be dropped from Brazil's national squad for 2 World Cup qualifiers. Brazil's Soccer Federation announced Antony's withdrawal on Monday after local media outlet UOL published allegations physical assault against him from his ex-girlfriend Gabriela Cavalin. The English Premier League club had been under pressure to respond to the allegations against Antony in a wake of a decision to part company with another striker, Mason Greenwood. Manchester United said last month that Greenwood would leave Old Trafford to avoid being a distraction after he had faced allegations of assault and attempted rape. Those charges were dropped in February, said prosecutors, citing the withdrawal of key witnesses and new material that came to light. Greenwood, 21, last Friday joined Spanish La Liga side Getafe on a season-long loan. Manchester United said it took case against Antony seriously with consideration of the impact these allegations and subsequent reporting will have on survivors of abuse. The club said they acknowledged the police inquiry and would make no further comments on the issue pending further information. The Brazilian Federation said Antony was being pulled from the squad in order to protect the alleged victim, the player, the Brazilian national team, and the CBF. Antony said he could give no more details about the allegations due to the police investigation, but that he could confidently state that they were false. A spokesperson for Brazil's Public Security Secretariat confirmed to Reuters that a police investigation was underway.
Now, the Spanish government mistakenly honored celebrity Ivana Icardi, sister of Argentinian footballer Mauro Icardi, instead of Women's World Cup winning captain Ivana Andres with the country's Royal Order of Sports Merit. Spain's National Sports Council confirmed on Wednesday. CSD issued an official apology for the human error, which they deeply regret after the blunder was published in Tuesday's edition of Spain's official state gazette. A correction was made on Wednesday's edition, honoring the correct Ivana, who lifted Spain's first Women's World Cup in Australia. Stay with us as we come back with the highlights soon.
eTicket, your online ticket solution for events and event marketing, bringing you ease of mind and making sure that your event gets out there. For more information, contact events@nhom.com.na.
We are so excited to be kickstarting your morning with the entertainment. Everything was happening during this past weekend.
Yes.
Exciting news.
Wow, no, she was killing it already.
In my opinion, I don't see anything wrong with him serving the full term.
As well as keeping you informed on the issues that you need to know happening in and around our country.
You're watching Africa Good Morning. If you're just joining us, let's take a look at the highlights from today's broadcast. Nigeria tribunal decides Tinubu fate as president. African leaders call for new global taxes to fund climate change action. WHO sees concerning COVID trends before winter as hospitalizations rise.
And it is an exciting time because the Rugby World Cup kicks off tomorrow. I believe the first game is going to be New Zealand versus France. New Zealand coming off a fresh loss from the Springboks. Very fresh.
Very fresh.
Out the packet. It's not even like on the bright stand. It's a sore one. Which might obviously could be a problem for France. Obviously, France is the home team. It is their World Cup. But in my opinion, has always been you only beat New Zealand when they have a bad game.
True.
True.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
And of course-
I totally agree.
Yeah, and of course we'll be keeping fingers crossed for Namibia as they face Italy over the weekend. Still hoping for our first World Cup victory. We've been to the World Cup about 7 times now. Yes, we are considered some of the underdogs, but I think this time the lads might do it. Could be Italy, could be Uruguay. We'll see. Maybe it could be New Zealand. Thank you very much for watching Africa Good Morning. We'll see you tomorrow morning.